Hey everyone, welcome. Today, we're diving into a project that almost every business has to tackle at some point, redesigning their WordPress website. And let me tell you, this is about way more than just a fresh coat of paint. A great redesign is a strategic move. It can completely modernize your user experience, sharpen your brand, and seriously drive your business goals forward. So, let's break down how to get it right.
First up, I have a question for you, and I want you to be honest. Take a really hard look at your current site. Is it fast? Does it work beautifully on a phone? Is it actually helping you do what you need it to do? If you're hesitating, or if the answer is a flat no, then you're in the right place.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to look at why so many redesigns just fail. That way, we know exactly what to avoid. Then, we'll build our blueprint for success, pick the right tools for the job, walk through the build itself, and finally, talk about what really happens after you hit that launch button.
All right, let's start with a quick reality check. A redesign is so much more than a visual refresh, and if you just rush into it without a solid plan, you can create some serious problems for yourself.
You know, what's really dangerous here is how these things create a kind of domino effect. A rushed project can absolutely tank the SEO rankings you've worked so hard for, literally overnight. And when that happens, it leads to a broken user experience, which messes with your business. You might end up migrating years of old, bloated content, and those tight deadlines, they almost always create what we call technical debt, shortcuts that you'll have to pay to fix with interest down the road.
So, how do we avoid that whole disaster scenario? Simple. We build a blueprint. Think about it. You wouldn't build a house without one, right? The planning phase is absolutely the most critical part. It's where the project is won or lost before you even write a single line of code. Your blueprint starts with a three-part audit. First, performance. Use tools to get a baseline for your current site's speed. You just can't improve what you don't measure. Second, content. I mean it. Create an inventory of every single page. Decide what's valuable, what can be improved, and what you can just delete. This is how you avoid migrating clutter. And third, the technical stuff. Document your theme, your plugins, and your hosting. You need to know exactly what you're working with.
Now, once you've got that audit done, you can set real, measurable goals. This is what moves you away from a vague idea like make it look better to specific targets. Goals like increase mobile conversions by 25% or hit a specific load time give your project a clear direction and, honestly, a real definition of what success looks like.
Okay, so we've got our plan in hand. Now it's time to make some pretty important technical decisions. And the choices we make right here are going to define the entire build process.
The first big choice you'll face is usually between a pre-built premium theme and a completely custom build. And there are some really clear trade-offs here. A premium theme is fast and affordable, but you're kind of boxed in by its structure. A custom build, on the other hand, gives you total freedom and usually a much leaner, faster result, but it comes with a much bigger price tag and a way longer timeline. Your goals and your budget are going to point you down the right path.
Before we go any further, I just have to pause on this. This is the golden rule. It is non-negotiable. Making changes directly on your live website is like trying to fix a car's engine while it's speeding down the highway. It's just a recipe for disaster. Don't do it.
So, to do this safely, you need something called a staging site. The easiest way to think of it is as a private clone of your live site tucked away on a server where no one can see it. This is your sandbox. Here, you can break things, experiment, and perfect the redesign without any of your actual visitors knowing a thing. And password protecting it is key, so search engines don't accidentally start indexing your half-finished work.
Okay, so you have your plan and your safe workspace is all set up. Now the real work begins, actually assembling your new site with a laser focus on structure, SEO, and of course, performance.
And this brings us to another one of those unbreakable rules, this time for protecting your SEO. If you change the URL of any page, I mean any page at all, you must create what's called a 301 redirect. Think of it like a permanent mail forwarding service for the internet. It tells search engines and users exactly where the old page is moved, preserving your search ranking and preventing those awful broken links.
Now, when it comes to site speed, there's no single silver bullet. A truly fast website gets its performance from a bunch of different things all working together. We're talking about smart caching, really well-optimized images, clean code, good hosting, and using a content delivery network, or a CDN, to serve up files super quickly to users no matter where they are in the world.
Beyond those redirects, you have to carry over all your SEO fundamentals. That means making sure your page titles and descriptions are intact, that your heading structure is logical, and that you're using something called schema markup to give search engines more context about your content.
Once it's all built, you'll regenerate your sitemap, and then you'll double and triple check every single one of those redirects.
Before you even think about launching, you need to test everything, and I really mean everything. Does the contact form actually send an email? Can you complete a purchase in the cart? Does the site look right on an iPhone, an Android, in Chrome, and Safari? You also have to compare your new speed metrics against your old ones and run some security scans to make sure everything's buttoned up.
So, you've planned, you've built, and you've tested. Now it's time for the final push, launching the new site and then shifting into a totally new phase of growth and improvement.
A successful launch should be a calm, methodical process, not some frantic scramble. You want to pick a time when your site has the least amount of traffic, late at night or over a weekend. Take final backups of both the old site and the new one. Then you deploy. And the second it's live, your first job is to immediately test your most critical functions, like your lead forms or the shopping cart, and make sure your analytics are tracking everything correctly.
But launch day is not the end of the story, not even close. The first day is all about monitoring, just watching traffic, looking for errors, checking server status. By the first week, you can start measuring results against those goals we set way back at the beginning. And from there, the site enters a whole new life cycle, a constant process of iteration, using data and feedback to make small improvements that really compound over time.
And if there's one thing to take away from this whole process, it's this. Launch is not the finish line, it's the starting line. You now have this new, powerful platform. The real value comes from what you learn from it and how you continue to make it better and better for your audience.
So that brings us to the final thought. Once your news site is out there in the world, collecting data and interacting with real users, what's the very first thing you're going to want to learn from it?